It is time now to talk business with our partners 2 Degrees. Milk prices overnight dropped again in the latest global dairy trade auctions. That makes it six falls in a row. And earlier on the show I was joined by Garth Bray from Business Desk, and I started off by asking whether there is now a downward trend given it is the 6th consecutive fall.
Yeah, and starting to sound like it's going to be putting a bit of pressure on that farmgate milk price, which Fonterra in particular was confidently picking at about $10 for this current season on the back of a $10.16 payout last season, which was 2 tens, pretty great numbers. What we're seeing, I suppose, overnight is that there's a lot of milk supply around the world. Most of the milk producing and exporting nations are doing pretty well, and just a slight softening in demand. So that mismatch is bringing things back, probably to on the index about where they were September last year. But I mean, that wholesale milk price dropping 2.7% again, that's knocked about $800 a tonne US off the price since the peak in May. And bear in mind that this is at a time where those US dollars probably are buying more Kiwi because I think we're down about 56 cents this morning. So, you know, even that isn't quite tempting people out. You would wonder if they're going to start thinking about getting the Farmgate Milk panel together at Fonterra to think, oh, should we adjust that figure down from that $10 pick that we had? Well, you know, that obviously would sort of flow through. Look,
even if they did come down to that $9.75, historically, that's still high.
Yeah, look, and strong, and obviously they're going to have a good story to tell with the capital distribution from that mainland deal too. But look, these are figures that probably every farm business looks at, adjusts its balance sheet, worries about how much it's borrowing against and so on. So definitely not a great sign, but you know, a long way to go yet.
We talked about the fast track legislation yesterday and the mine proposed in the South Island.
Yeah.
The boss of that agency has resigned, leaving?
Yeah, basically announces it. Yeah, Alan Freeth, who's the chief executive of the Environmental Protection Agency, announced that he's leaving after 11 years there next year. But that was within 24 hours of the government announcing a swag of changes, amendments to the Fast Track Approvals Act, which is really not that new, not that old anyway, and to try and fast track the fast track process. They were particularly, and you know, one senior minister who was speaking to our team, Dilip Fonseca and Patrick Smalley have been on this one, said, are the two linked, this guy leaving and these changes? Absolutely.
Right.
There you go. This is, I mean...
So is he being shown the door?
Well, Shane Jones, who's the Resources Minister, who's been even more vocal and quite... I mean, even on this program, I think when I was in that chair back in September, we had him on saying the EPA need to sort of get the message. He's saying they missed the memo, that they, as an agency who administer the fast-track approvals process, just were being too nitpicky, I suppose. Their interpretation of the rules, for example, meant that if an application wasn't judged complete, they would say, right, you've got to start over, send it back to us again, pay your fees, all the rest of it. One of these amendments is, no, you can update applications once they've been made, just to try and keep it going. They're saying some of the other changes are like likely to shave about 6 weeks off the 6 months process. But you've got environmental groups saying, whoa, this is just going too far, too fast. The Environmental Defence Society saying, look, this is, you're changing who can appeal these decisions and tightening that down to just the people that that had a right to be consulted on this, not the people that the panels that look at these things bring into the mix and say, hey, what do you think about this? So the whole thing is being squeezed and squeezed to the point where just the people that have an immediate interest in whatever is under consideration are being talked to.
I can see why those environmental groups are concerned about that, right?
Yeah.
Because you could end up just ramming it through and they're not getting a say.
And yet there's Shane Jones in Business Desk today saying, hey, look, if you don't like it, meet me at the ballot box. He reckons that we voted for mines. So I guess we will find out next year.
Fletcher Building. Analysts are a little bit concerned about the number of houses they aren't selling. Yeah, right. I mean, the residential arm, I think, is pretty well known around the country for building, for spec building. And the analysts, Macquarie in particular, are taking a look at that saying, hey, look, it's not looking great, Kiwi. You don't have, you haven't got great population growth. You're seeing immigration heading in the wrong direction. And all of that's leading to a situation where they think that Fletcher's basically got an unsustainable build rate of, they reckon it probably needs to be more like about 27,000 homes they're consenting a year, not 34,000. And I mean, Fletcher's confirmed this in a recent update. It basically said, look, it's at about an 11-year high
in terms of its stock of unsold homes. So not a great time really to be holding that, and they're picking that Fletcher's is going to have to start to turn that around and build less, basically.
Do they just need to build cheaper homes so that people can afford to buy them?
Well, there is a thought. There is a thought. I mean, the good news out of all this, I suppose, is that you've got Cotality reporting that in September, something like 51% of first home buyers secured a mortgage with less than a 20% deposit, and that there are some changes to the loan-to-value ratios that are coming in next month that will ease things for the banks and possibly make that even easier. So perhaps that crucial deposit that's so hard to get will get a wee bit easier to pull together. But yeah, you're right, probably the prices need to drop a bit.
And that was Garth Bray from Business Desk, thanks to our partners 2 Degrees speaking with me earlier this morning. We're going to turn now to entertainment, where the team at the Herald sat down with Aussie